Recently, I had an argument with a friend about whether you should rent or buy. He did his best to convince me that renting is absolute waste of money. It's like burning money because why would you rent when you can take a mortgage? You might overpay a little bit, but you will end up owning the house at the end. First of all, I really don't understand why do people think that renting is a waste of money. I mean, you're actually getting something in return for your money. A place to live in. It's like a service. When you're getting a cab, for example, you don't think of it as a waste of money because you're getting a ride. So renting a place to stay is a service as well. But the point that most people make is, you have an option of buying that house, so why on earth would you rent? What I have realized is that most people do not consider all the factors when they're comparing renting to buying. Of course, it's going to be different for everyone because we all live in different countries and cities. Interest rates and house prices are different everywhere, and it's impossible to generalize. However, there are certain factors that would affect everyone, regardless of where you are. There is an opportunity cost that most people simply ignore, although that is one of the most important factors to consider when buying a house. And it's probably the reason why buying a house seems like a much better option. Let's say you are buying a house for $500,000 that you could rent for $2,000. First of all, you will have to make a down payment of, let's say, 20%, which is going to be $100,000 in this case. Let's say it's going to be a 30-year mortgage with a monthly payment of $2,430. At first look, it seems like there isn't much of a difference between buying and renting. Buying obviously seems like a better deal, but when you consider other expenses such as taxes, insurance, maintenance, and so on, it will easily cross $3,000. And now let's take a look at the opportunity cost. First of all, the $100,000 down payment that you made could be invested. To make matters simple, we will assume that you will invest it in an index fund with an average rate of 8%. On the top of that, since you will be paying only $2,000 if you are renting, you will invest the remaining $1,000. Here is a little calculator that will help us to do the math. Let's enter the numbers and submit the result. With the help of compounding, you will end up with almost $2.5 million and all the other benefits that renting comes with, such as mobility. In my case, for example, I don't want to be tied to a certain place or even a city, at least for now. As long as I'm liking it here, I'm staying. The moment I realize that there is a better opportunity elsewhere, I'm moving there. But here is the catch. That will work only if you invest every penny that you would otherwise pay for your mortgage. But what usually happens is that when you decide to rent, you probably will skip your saving payments because every time you will have an emergency or a reason to spend that money elsewhere. Let's be honest, it's much easier to skip your monthly contribution into your savings account than your mortgage payment. That's exactly why buying is a much better option for most people. Most people aren't much into investing, so what happens at the end of the day is that your friend who took a mortgage will end up with at least something while you will have nothing at the end of the day. Of course, these numbers aren't 100% accurate. Your rent, for example, isn't going to stay like that for 30 years. It will increase by at least 3%. So does your other expenses. There are a lot of interesting videos on this matter on YouTube where they show you the exact math. But to be honest, when it comes to your case, you should look at the numbers in your city and do the math, and most importantly, if you choose to rent, are you confident that you have the discipline to keep investing the remaining amount? Why don't you let me know in the comments below? Thanks guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.